We wanted to leave the cold Denver winter forever and live in perfect weather for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. But we also want to travel the world. We just don't want to move to a different spot.
So we want to travel the world. We want to stay in perfect weather, and we didn't want to spend more than $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
So who are we?
So we're Chris and Steve. This is Chris. I'm Steve. We're EatWalkLearn. We've been traveling for 4 years. And this video, like Chris said, is how do we find perfect weather?
Yeah. So we're actually going to do a series here. We've got a 3-video series coming up dealing with the question of how do you travel the world, stay in 72 degrees, and only spend $50,000 as a couple, constantly moving all the time. So to chase this 72 degrees. So that's the series. It's 3 videos coming up the next 3 weeks. But this video in particular is how do you find that 72 degrees? It is not easy.
Well, and more importantly is we're going to share with you the perfect place to be every month of the year.
Yeah, it's like a calendar girls of the best places.
Right.
So look, I've got my sunny shirt and my cactus on. I got my 72 degree shirt on.
Yeah, I've got my New York Mets shirt on.
And you're not even, no, it's a Denver Broncos shirt.
It's Denver Broncos.
Yeah, the orange. Anyway, so we, first of all, need to kind of define what perfect weather is. So you can see this picture back here. If you can guess where we are, that's where we are. If you can guess from the picture, write in the comments where you think that is. And then we'll tell you where it is right before we actually tell you. That's not perfect weather. Being up in the mountains and it's sunny or it's snowy and it's cold and you're shoveling snow, not perfect weather.
Yeah. There's glaciers where we are and icebergs.
Yeah, not perfect weather. Great place to go visit, not perfect weather. Perfect weather for us is 72 degrees. Now, for all of our Europeans watching, for everybody else in the world, that's 20 to 22 degrees, somewhere in that nice little sweet spot.
Right.
We want to be in t-shirts and shorts, maybe in the evening, throw on a little hoodie or something, but we're not looking for anything super hot and we're not looking for anything cold.
Yeah, and so this is a little bit of an adventure that we're taking right now, but we've also made some other mistakes of places that we've been to that you might be considering. We'll tell you about those too, because we don't want you to repeat our mistakes.
Yeah. So let's go, do the Scooby. So 4 years ago, we're sitting in Denver and we're thinking this all up and having these dreams. We go out and shovel snow and we have these dreams of we don't want to do this anymore. And what happens is we finally hit our financial numbers and we finally both retire and we're like, now's the time to do it. Let's figure this out and go. So This was in May of 21, and the first problem we had was we had no idea how to figure this out. So we started researching and we found a couple of tools.
Yeah.
So what are some of the tools that we used?
Yeah, so some of them are actually pretty simple. Mm-hmm. You can use some weather apps and you can even just go to Google and say, where's the perfect place to be in February? Or go to different destinations and say, give me the weather by month.
Right.
And it'll tell you what the average high and lows are and the rainfall and wind and things like that for every month of the year. And these are some basic apps that you can use to find amazing places and what the best time of year is to go to those places. Right.
So we're showing you up some examples as we're talking right now, but we just started Googling. Actually, we went to the Weather Channel and Weather Spark and Weather Underground. All of them have different reasons that you want to go to those tools. The Weather Channel seems to do fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd like to look at it a little bit differently. Is like, what are the things that we want to do? What are the places that we want to go to and to see, and what's the best time of year to do that?
Yeah.
Perfect example is we want to see the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Well, when should we go to Paris?
Right. Or the Grand Canyon, or walk the Camino in Spain, or go see Uluru in Australia. So all of these places, you can go any time of the year to them, which is fine, except one of the challenges that we have is we only carry 2 carry-on suitcases, and it has everything. They have everything in the world that we own. So that's one wardrobe, and we can't carry heavy clothing and warm clothing. We carry the t-shirts and the sweatshirt and the shorts, And if the weather requires more clothing, we have a problem. So, once we figured out the weather apps, then we had to figure out what things cost in the different months around the world. So what do we use for that?
Yeah, we use Airbnb, and not necessarily to book all of our accommodations, although we do use Airbnb occasionally, but it's a great way to find out what do short-term rentals cost. We're on a budget. Next video, we'll take a deep dive into how do we save money and how do we use those travel hacks. But in the meantime, Airbnb is a great resource just to find out how much things cost in different places and seasonally. So you can see in different times of the year as rental rates go up and down where you can go and how you can afford it.
Right. And when we go to Airbnb, we look for 30-day rentals. Next week, when we tell you a little bit more about why we do 30 days, but 30 days will give you a really good insight to what a tourist, even though we're not really tourists staying for a month someplace, we're more travelers than we are tourists, but that's the rate we're going to pay. It's not like we're going to go to Paris and get a year rental with a lease that's a year long. That's going to be a different rate versus getting something for a month. So Airbnb really kind of trues up for us how much something costs. So if we look at a place, let's say we're looking at 3 places in April, and we know the temperature is 72 degrees average for April, but one place costs $3,000 a month and the other place costs $1,000 a month, that's going to really trigger where we go for that month. So we actually have one more tool that we use. So we use Airbnb and we use a weather app. And then the third tool that we should probably mention is we actually use Facebook extensively to help us figure out where to go as well. We might go to our own Facebook group where we encourage you to join our Facebook group. Here's the link, and ask in our Facebook group, where should we go in April, or where are you going in May, or what's your itinerary for the spring? People share their itineraries all the time in our Facebook group, and people give comment and suggestions on itineraries. And then we also will go to different expat groups on Facebook, like expat group for Split or expat group for Patagonia, and have the expats tell us, or the locals that are in the expat groups tell us there are some suggestions also for where to go. So those 3 tools kind of pull it all together for us.
Exactly. So we've got this amazing itinerary.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's see it. Okay, it's like our calendar girls, the calendar girls of the world. Where is it the perfect temperature? Where is it 72 degrees for the month, more or less, with the range of that, around the world? So starting in January, cha-cha-cha-cha-cha.
Amazing place. But here's the clue. You've got to get there before December 31st because we're talking about Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
And if you want to see an amazing fireworks show, December 31st is the place to be in Australia, in Sydney, on Sydney Harbor. Just a fantastic place. And, Southern Hemisphere, opposite of Northern Hemisphere, the temperature and the weather is fantastic in Sydney.
Right. And if you can even get there for Christmas, you can go to Bondi Beach and be in your bathing suit for Christmas. But fly in there a couple days before, enjoy the fireworks. And then the whole month of January, you're going to love gorgeous weather to be on the beach and walk along the shoreline and enjoy the Bondi to Manly Trail. Excellent, excellent place to be in January. All right. February, hearts out for February. It's Valentine's Day. Where are we in February? Right next door. Do you remember?
We're going south a little bit.
We're going east a little bit to New Zealand.
We actually had a little conflict about this, about the Tasmania versus New Zealand. And New Zealand won. New Zealand is an amazing country. Auckland is an amazing city. And
the Bay of Islands in particular is the place that we love in February. We definitely want to go back there and stay the month. It is gorgeous. The weather is perfect. The people are nice and the food is delicious. So, what else could you ask for?
Yeah, and this is kind of like a dream. I mean, all my life, it's like New Zealand. I can go to New Zealand?
Yeah, you can.
Why not?
Yeah.
But go in February, don't go in July.
Yeah, February. Okay, March. In like a lion, out like a lamb. Here comes March. Mexico City. Viva Mexico! Again, I feel like I've got my little Mexican hello shirt. You know what? Speaking of Mexican, what's your shirt? Don't you have a really interesting tea cup today?
2 things. Yeah, I'm drinking a little tea, and my tea cup says
Tarde con los amigas. Con las amigas.
Con mis amigas.
What does it say? Tarde mis amigas. Tarde con amigas. Tarde con amigas.
Which is the afternoon with girlfriends. So
all of my girlfriends out there, cheers.
Learning Spanish here, but we haven't told you where we are yet.
Yeah.
Anyways, but just a little, again, kind of, this is a big conflict for us because we just told you about February in New Zealand, and now we're saying go to March in Mexico City, the opposite end of the planet.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Stay tuned next week for our video that will give you those tips on your itinerary and how to make this work.
Yeah, we'll reconcile all this in next week's video. Okay, Abril. ¿Dónde estamos en abril? In April. Of course, we are back over to Italy. You know, if you've been following us, you know we like to hike. One of the best hikes in the world is the Cinque Terre.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the 5 hikes through the 5 little villages along the seaside and in the kind of north central section of Italy. The local town is La Spezia, Laspezia. Go there, hang out for the month, spend the whole time hiking, enjoying absolutely perfect weather for hiking.
Yeah, this particular hike attracts a lot of tourists. It's going to be busy. April is kind of the sweet spot because the weather is beautiful and all the tourists have not arrived yet.
Yeah.
And it could be a little bit more tolerable. So Italy in the month of April is great.
So speaking of tourists and a lot of people arriving, in May, head over to the Algarve in Portugal. Some of our favorite cities there are Oahu and Tavira, just kind of near Faro. So not very far from Faro, which is the main airport to go into the Algarve. Again, perfect weather in May. The tourists haven't arrived yet. The weather is really good. It's not busy. It's still affordable. You're right at the shoulder season. The rates are really great. Portugal, it has my heart for sure.
Yeah, the Algarve is fantastic, and we could recommend 5 or 6 different towns. They're all a little bit different. They're unique, and we recommend them all.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
It's a great place, and the weather is primo in May.
Okay, coming up to June, starting to get a little warm in Europe, but we can still find some good stuff on the continent, and we're headed to Granada. So Granada is on the southern coast. It's kind of, everybody goes to Barcelona or Valencia or Alicante. Not good places to go right now. The tourism is way too much, and there's kind of an anti-tourism backlash going on there. Your mileage may vary, but in Granada, neat little town, hasn't been really discovered. It does have tourism, it does get busy, but in June, you can kind of still avoid that and enjoy some good weather.
We stayed right outside there for a month, had a fabulous time, and June is a perfect month to be in Spain.
Yeah, we actually stayed in the olive groves for a little while. We were in this little teeny tiny town outside of Granada and woke up every morning to sunrise in the olive groves, which was a whole different experience in itself. Nice little country time at the time. All right. Get on your jig. And in July, we're headed over to Dublin. Now, Dublin is one of my favorite cities. It is just in July. It is perfect weather for July. I don't think anybody's ever said there's perfect weather in Dublin, but in July, you're going to find some perfect weather. Lovely place to be. We have traveled to Dublin many times, had reasons to go, family reasons to go there. We've done the Celtic Camino. We actually have a really cool video up here called The Deep Tracks of Dublin. So there's 10 things to do that are on, trust me, they're not on anybody else's what to do in Dublin list. I promise you, going to the Guinness Storehouse is not on the list, but 10 other really interesting things are. So if you want to go to Dublin in July, go to Dublin.
Absolutely.
Okay. August, where are we? Oh, this was one of our favorite places ever.
In the month of August, we spent our time in Riga, Latvia. And what a great town. I don't think it's really quite been discovered yet. Easy to get around. The people are fantastic. The food is amazing. We rented affordable.
Yeah, and we rented
architecture.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The architecture was great. And then we rented bikes for the month And we had bikes, and we just biked all over Riga. And biking was not like Amsterdam or any of the other really bike central cities of Europe, but there was definitely bike routes and bike lanes, and you can make your way on bikes to a lot of really great places in Riga. So, and a perfect weather for bike riding. I think we had rain 2 days of the whole month. So perfect. Yeah, perfect.
It was great. And the temperature, again, we're in August in Latvia,
the Balkans. Yeah.
Balkans was
perfect.
Yes.
We keep on saying perfect.
I know. But that's what we're looking for. That's the whole idea of this video, is to be in perfect weather.
And then next week we'll tell you how we screwed up. Okay, September, Split, Croatia. I think this is my favorite place.
Split just keeps on the top of the list for me as a place that I want to go back to, and I want to spend more time there.
Yeah.
The waterfront, the town, the vibe of the food, and it just.
And what's great about Split is it's the end of the season in September, and all the cruise boats, most of them are not. A couple still come in, but the majority of them are gone. Right. Most of the tourism is gone. It's getting into its shoulder season. The weather's perfect. The rents are down. The food is great. The people are incredible.
And all up and down the coast. You can go down to Dubrovnik. You can go out to
Zagreb. Up and down. Yeah. Perfect. I mean, if you don't pick Split, any place in Croatia in September. All right. Next up, October. Oh, the Greek islands. You can't go wrong in October. But in particular, we went to the island of Crete and the city of Chania. A lot of people say Chania, so it's Chania. It's actually pronounced Chania, where the C is silent. Man, what a great city.
Yeah, again, on the water, amazing tourist location, but in October, most of the tourists have gone home, and you can really enjoy the place, and the weather's great. I mean, why go there in the heat of the summer when you can go there in October in the shoulder season and just really enjoy great weather, beaches, the town, the food, Greek food. I think of all the places that we've been to, I think Greek food is my favorite. The best meal I ever had, was at the Botanic Gardens in Chania, Crete, Greece, at the Botanic Gardens. They actually feed you the food that they grow in the Botanic Garden. So really unique lunch. It was a lunch that we had. So really great place. Okay, November. Now, we went back and forth on what to suggest for November. We wanted to suggest Jordan and Petra and Wadi Rum. May not be the best place to go right now. It's politically kind of a little bit of challenging. Their neighbors are politically challenged right now, and not a good place for human rights going on right now. Jordan's not being affected, but everything around it is. So if you can get to Jordan, you feel safe going to Jordan, and right now it's not on a no-fly list or whatever, we recommend going there. But in being sensitive to that environment, that's not our recommendation. Instead, our recommendation is Fethiye, Turkey. Wow, we were there just recently. Wasn't it Love
great?
It. Yeah, just this past year, we spent a month in Fethiye and had a great time. And again, it's one of these places that can attract a lot of tourists, but this is the kind of city, especially in November, you're going to feel like you own the place. I mean, it is just, there are miles and miles of waterfront to walk and just enjoy the nature around it in the mountains and the paragliders and the beaches. It's I was really surprised. I did not expect to like Turkey, the coast of Turkey, so much. Yeah. Had a great time.
And Fethiye is the gateway to the Western adventures of Turkey. So tons of hiking. It's the gateway to the Lycian Way, which is a long distance trail. Like Stu said, there's paragliding there. Lots of really cool hiking. We went hiking in an old ghost town. Fabulous places. Check out our video about Fethiye. By the way, most of the places we're mentioning, we have either videos, you can go on our playlist, or we have blog posts at our blog at EatWalkLearn at www.eatwalklearn.com. Just go there. There's a search tool. Put in your city, and we have over 300 articles on places to go around the world. So if we mention them here, go to our blog page and see it, or I don't know, write a note down below and we'll tell you our place. Okay. Yeah. We're coming up on the last one, and then we have a surprise for you. So the last one in December, where are we going in December, honey?
We're going to Buenos Aires, Argentina. Yes. So again, we're jumping down into the southern hemisphere. Buenos Aires is a fantastic city, a lot larger than I thought it was. So much to see, so much to do. The parks are amazing. The people are fantastic. And I'm practicing my Spanish.
Yeah. So if you have, so here's the hint. We just came from Buenos Aires, and where are we? We are in Patagonia right now. So all of you who commented down below, Patagonia, good job. We are in Patagonia. It's not 72 degrees. We're here on a little vacation doing some hiking through the Patagonia. So definitely not 72 degrees, although it is 60 something. So it's pretty nice.
It's by choice. And that's the idea of this, leaving and traveling the world, seeing and going to the places that you've always dreamed about and the things that you always wanted to do in a time where it makes most sense.
Right.
So we're not going to be going to Patagonia in July. We're going to go in January and February when the weather here is as good as it gets.
You're right. It's not perfect, but it's perfect for here. Right. So here's the conflict. If you try to do this itinerary that we just laid out, going from January to December, you're not going to spend $50,000 for a couple. You're going to spend way more, and you'll be in the airports and airplanes endlessly getting and taking really super long flights.
Right.
That's not the quality of life we want to have. So next week, we are going to tell you the tools we use to make this itinerary affordable and actionable. So we hope that you are inspired by these 12 locations, and you are thinking, you don't have to, if you're watching the video the week that it came out, it's probably the first week or so of February. And if you're in the States, there's a high possibility you're looking at snow or cold weather outside of your door. And maybe you're inspired to come next week, watch our video, and determine how you can do this itinerary, and you can put it all together for disrupting what your retirement might look like. You don't have to go to Florida and live in a patio home. You actually can travel the world, stay in perfect weather, and do it for less than $50,000 a year.
See
See you next week.
Hasta luego.